Hi everybody, hope everybody's doing well today. If you're new to my channel, I am Tina Williams with Rehatch Designs. I do thrift flips, DIYs, upcycles, and that's what we're going to be doing today on this channel. And I am going to be incorporating a nest in my little springtime vignettes that I'm doing, and I hope that you enjoy that. I love birds, and I have 3 booths that I stock, and everyone seems to love birds as well. So anyway, we're going to be doing that in this video today, and if you like it, please do me a favor and give me a thumbs up, share, like, and if you haven't already, please subscribe, and I hope you enjoy this.
All right, project number 1. I thrifted this grapevine wreath. It's an egg shape and it has a little pouch in front of it. And I actually got it for 50 cents because it was 50% off. And I have this decoupage paper that I want to use on this little wooden egg shape that I bought off of Amazon. I think it was a pack of 5 or something like that. And I just kind of went over it with my finger to kind of get to the edge so I could figure out where I was going to place this on this egg. And now what I'm doing is I am going over this with just some white chalk paint. And I'm just going to go over the whole thing with one coat as a backing. And now I'm going to take my transfer gel. And this is, I'm using the transfer gel from Fusion. Decoupage transfer gel. I love it. It's my favorite now. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and just put some transfer gel. And because I traced around that with my finger, I know exactly where to place it. And I'm adding a little bit of extra decoupage transfer gel. Now this is rice paper, and rice paper is a little bit thicker. It takes a little bit more product. But it is wonderful to use because it is so easy, very few wrinkles, and it's strong, it doesn't tear. So after I do that, I go over it with my heat gun, and that pretty much eliminates any wrinkles or bubbles. And then I take my little finger sander and I take off the edges with that when my paper is dry. And then after all that, I go over the whole top of it with my decoupage transfer gel just to seal it. And now what I'm doing is I'm filling the front of this little grapevine wreath that has this little pouch in it with a bunch of Spanish moss. And a lot of times when I put florals in, I will go ahead and put foam in, but I'm not doing it this time. I'm just going to be using the Spanish moss and a little bit of sheet moss. I'm kind of like just putting a combo in there just to put some greenery in front so it's not all just the grayish toned Spanish moss. And now what I'm doing is I'm taking some hot glue on the back of this wreath that has that little crisscross, and that is how I'm gluing in my little egg. It stays in there pretty good. It's pretty flat in the back. You could wire this in if you wanted to, but I really don't think you need to. And now what I'm doing is I'm taking a little nest that I bought. I don't know where. I have a collection of them, but probably off of Amazon or Temu or I don't know, even Joann's or Hobby Lobby. Who knows? I get them whenever they're on sale. So I'm going ahead and putting a little bit of that sheet moss on there. I want a little green. And now I'm putting big globs of glue on the back of this because I'm going to shove this in the front of that little pouch area so that you can see the nest. It's going to kind of be like a nest within a nest. And I make sure that's in there really good and kind of tilt it up so you can see where where it is. I don't want it to be completely hidden, but I don't want it sticking out over the birds. And now I'm just got a collection of different florals that I have that I've gotten all over the place. Who knows where I got them all. Anyway, I'm just kind of just messing with it and trying to figure out where to put them. And when I make my final decision, I do put glue on the tips of these and shove them in there so that they're glued to the actual surface and the grapevine wreath. And what's great about having that grapevine wreath at the bottom, I can stick little florals in there. And I have some eggs that I bought at Hobby Lobby when they're on sale. It's a great time to stock up for next year when they have all their sales. And most of this stuff I had from last year. So, and I just kind of try and even it out on both sides. And now I have this little piece of just some rope that I attached to the top that I'm going to use for a hanger. And I just have some burlap wired ribbon that I bought. I think I got it at Hobby Lobby. And I'm just going to mess with that and get it the way I want it. And that's it, guys. I think it turned out really pretty. I love it. I love those two birds in there, and I love the shape of this wreath. All right, we are on to project number 2. Y'all better get something to drink and relax because there's 13 projects. Anyway, this is just I got this little colander out thrifting for $5. I was pretty thrilled. And I had it in my booth and it hasn't sold. So I'm going to trick it up a little bit. So I have this little bird that I've had forever. And nothing against this bird, but this little green shiny bird probably isn't going to sell the way that it is. So I am going over this with Raw Silk by Fusion. It's probably my favorite white that they have. It's a little bit off-white, but it's not too yellow and it's not too dark. And because Fusion has a primer in it, I kind of use it like a primer. I don't put anything else on a shiny thing like this, and I have had actually no issues doing that. So I decided to mix this with some salt wash, and I'm dabbing it on. Save your old crummy brushes that you don't take care of, because they are great for this. And I just mix this with salt wash, which is an additive that makes texture. And I'm going to go over the whole thing, and I'm just dabbing it. I let that dry. And then I'm just going to go over it with some dark wax. I'm using Fusion's Aging Wax, which is it's my go-to. It's my favorite. It's not really black. It's not really brown. It's super creamy. It goes on wonderful. It wipes off great. And because Fusion has a top coat built in, I did not clear this first. It allows me a lot of room to wipe off as much as I want. And I had a big nest that I bought. I think I got it on Temu. And I'm putting some Spanish moss in the bottom. I am not gluing anything to this colander because who knows, maybe I'll be putting a Christmas tree in it before long if it doesn't sell. But anyway, I went ahead and put Spanish moss in the bottom, and I'm going to lay the wreath in there, putting some Spanish moss in the middle. And I have these little, I don't even know what kind of flower it is, these little kind of viney purple things. And I'm going around the edge of this, and I'm going inside the nest a little bit. And just to add some color to it. This is a really easy project, but I think it turns out really cool. And I know I got all these flowers from Dollar Tree. I got the vine thing, and I got these little flowers that I'm cutting here, and I'm kind of shoving them in there. Now, I do glue things to the nest, but not to the actual colander. look itself, so that, you know, you just take everything out. Like I said, I might have a Christmas tree in it before long if it doesn't sell. I'm not even sure I want to sell it. It's really cute when it gets done. So I just basically put that stuff around, and then I have, it's not even really ribbon. This is just pieces of material that I cut in strips. And I think I just take a couple of them and I tie a very, very simple bow in the front of this, just with those strips. And that's it, guys. Super, super simple, but I love this. I think it'd be cute in a kitchen, and I'll probably keep it. All right, project number 3 and 4. It's a twofer. Okay, so I got these at Hobby Lobby this year. So hopefully you can find some. Those little chicks are adorable. And I think they were like $2.49 and they were 50% off, so it was like $1.50. And so now I'm using the traditional pots transfer. I do have some of these in stock. I think pretty sure IOD is out of stock, so they maybe start getting hard to come by. These are great transfers to use on so many things. And I just cut out some pieces from the traditional pots transfer. I have these little terracotta pots, and they were already painted white. Looks like with some kind of house paint or something, and it's kind of a shiny paint, and it was already chipped. So, I mean, this is like a super, super easy makeover, guys. I think I only paid like 5 cents each for these at a thrift store, and they had dirt and everything in them. So, you know, don't be afraid to buy that stuff. Just clean them up, and you can always do something with them. And because this paint looks like it was some sort of like, you know, house paint or something, and it looked like it was sealed, these transfers are going on really, really easy. And I basically cut them to where there was like some topography on top that wouldn't fit. And I went ahead and just, you know, cut them so they would fit on there. These are smaller ones. And now I'm just going to go over these with my favorite little aging wax. Even those either chipped up, the white's kind of shiny, and I don't, you know, we want it to look, you know, like they're old. And they are really old, but anyway. So I'm going over these with my my favorite aging wax, and I'm wiping back quite a bit of it. And you know, now that I'm watching this, I definitely should have probably gone back in and added some of my grit to this. I use it all the time. I don't know why I didn't think of that. I might even go back and do that. So I have these springs. Story behind that is I was looking for rusty springs, and somebody was getting rid of 2 mattresses that were rusty springs for 20 bucks. And I made my husband drive across town. He thought I was out of my mind. And so I have a ton of rusty springs. So what I'm using is my CA glue. This stuff's amazing. So I put some on the bottom spring. It fits like right inside this pot. So I'm putting it in there, and then I'm off camera a little bit, but I put it on the bottom spring, and then you put an activator spray on it, and then it just bonds instantly. So then what I'm doing is I'm taking just some glass pebbles, or, you know, rocks, you know, like you buy them at the Dollar Tree or wherever. Because those little chicks that we're going to put in there are made out of resin, and they're kind of heavy. And I don't want this to topple over, so I put those on the bottom. You could add glue. I did not. I put glue inside later, and it does, some of it drips down in there, so I think we're good. I fill this up with some sort of like grass material that I had that I thrifted from somewhere. And then, of course, more Spanish moss. I have Spanish moss all over my craft room, all over me, all over the house. I walk around, it was stuck to me. It's everywhere. But anyway, I'm putting some on the top. And then I am gluing some to the bottom or around, really the sides of these bird nests that I have. I don't know where I got them. Like I said, I kind of collect them when they go on sale. So I have a bunch of different sizes. And then I have this really weird synthetic moss, and I think I got it off of Temu, and it's stretchy. It's really kind of cool. And I put some around the edges, and now here you can see me using my CA glue. It's kind of a gel, so I have it on top there like that. I'm trying to get as much on there as I can. I'm putting my nest on there, turning it over, and I'm just going to spray my spray. See, there's the spray, and this stuff bonds instantly. It's amazing. Now, you could have used hot glue, but I knew this was going to work. So now I am using hot glue for my little chick on there, and I basically put a big glob of hot glue on the bottom of it and stuck it in there and smushed it. And pretty much I use the hot glue when I'm doing like organic type material to organic because it works really well. But when I'm using like glass or metal or even wood, I like using the CA glue. It works really, really well. So now, of course, you always have to trim your Spanish moss. And then I have just some black and white ribbon, checked ribbon. I'm thinking I'm not sure where I'm going to put it. I want to put it somewhere, and I end up putting it around the rim of this pot. And here they are. Super easy project. Adorable. Run out and get you some of these chicks. And if you want that traditional pots, I do have a few of them. But like I said, they're out of stock at IOD, so grab them while you can. So we are on to project number 5, and I want to thank all of you for hanging out with me. I know your time is very valuable, and I try and give you a lot of value for your time. So I have some very watered down black paint. This is just some chalk paint, and I am sprinkling these little eggs that I made. I made these with air dry clay. I'm going to make some more later and show you how to make them, but they're super easy. So I just sprinkled them and put some specks on there and let those dry. And now what I have is this is called a cheese mold. And I thrifted this a while ago, and I had it for sale in my booth just the way that it is. And it has not sold, and I'm kind of happy about that because I get to decorate it. This is super, super easy little flip here. And I'm just taking, again, the Spanish moss. Like I said, I have it everywhere in my house now. It's kind of like glitter. You're never going to get rid of it. So I am not gluing anything to this mold. I think this is a great thing to have where you can just add things to it seasonally. It works great like for a centerpiece, and because you're not, looking through it. So I'm just taking these little carrots that I got from the Dollar Tree. I darkened them up a little because they're very, very bright orange with a little bit of my aging wax, and stuck those eggs in there. And then I have these little bunnies that I just kind of glued in the middle of the nest. Super simple and really cute. All right, project number 6. So this is another easy one, but I absolutely love it. Okay, so this is one of those little things that, used to be from Hobby Lobby. I bought it from a thrift store, and I'm going to use my heat gun to help take that label off. It works wonders, scraping. You can scrape it off. And then I'm going to sand off the glitter from the front of this. There's always glitter, it seems like. And now I'm going to paint this with this beautiful color, Abundance. And this is by Paint Couture. It's a mineral paint. And I'm painting the back or the front. And then I'm painting the insides of the back, because the back is going to be the front. That's what's going to happen. And now I'm going to go ahead and paint the inside back with Raw Silk by Fusion, just to give me a white background, because we are going to be decoupaging. So now I have this really cute little hen with her eggs, and I cut it out, and I'm kind of like putting my fingers in there to get a line to where I can go ahead and cut it out a little bit more. I could use my water pen and do an organic cut, but we're going to do something different. So I cut it out pretty close, and probably you could just leave it just like that, because it's pretty good. I'm going to go in there and take some of that Abundance and go around the side, just in case some of it shows. And now I'm going to take my Decoupage transfer gel, and I'm going to go ahead and decoupage this cute little hen in there. Use my heat gun to get rid of any wrinkles. And I'm going to go ahead and seal it with that same transfer gel. I love the transfer gel because it does dry completely matte. I love it. So now I'm just taking some more of that Abundance with a small brush. I'm going around the edge to give it an organic look. You could definitely leave it the way it was. And of course I'm going to put some more Spanish moss on there, because I don't have enough all over my house and on me. And I'm also going to put some of that sheet moss down. And I have these little eggs that I actually, they were in some nests that I bought, and they just so happened to match the ones in this picture, the colors perfectly. So I'm going to glue them in there. And I'm going to go ahead and put the hanger on the front. It was on the back, and I'm going to go ahead and move it. And then I'm going to go ahead and take some aging wax, which this part I should have done prior to putting all of the eggs in and the moss and everything, but I didn't think of it till after. And I'm just trying to age it up a little bit. I put some on, wipe it off, and I love how this turned out. It was a super, super easy flip. You can find these things anywhere and make a nice little dimensional picture with them. And I hope you try it. All right, we are on to projects number 7 and 8, another 2-4. So anyway, this one is fairly easy. These little birds I got at Hobby Lobby. You might recognize them. I got them on clearance, and I think they were like 23 cents each. And they're just plaster, but I'm going over them with Fusion's Raw Silk. I use it kind of like a primer, because it has a primer and top coat built in. It works really well for stuff like that. And now I'm taking some salt wash, and I am mixing that with Mystic Gray. This is just a chalk paint from Paint Couture. It's a really, really good base color gray if you guys like making things cement looking. And I'm finding that it's just interesting. Anything that I make look like cement like this, that sells really well in my booth. The cement look, I guess. So the way I always do it, I start out with a dark color. I just use that raw silk as kind of a primer. And so then I go over that with the Mystic Gray. And now I'm going to mix in Tapestry, and this is by Fusion. And it's kind of a lighter grayish brown color. And then I mix some of that in with the already gray, the Mystic Gray. And I add a little extra salt wash. And of course I'm just stippling it on. Like I said, save those old brushes that are kind of crusty. And now they're perfect for this. I don't throw those away. Unless they're really, really bad. But I go ahead and I pounce all over this. And I'm leaving a lot of the Mystic Gray showing. You want to blend it, but not so much that you don't see the deviation in color is the trick. And usually I end up using up to 3 different colors. And I kind of go on the darker side. Lean toward that because I usually always put a white wax over it. And now I'm just taking some of that, the tapestry without mixing it with the gray, just the plain tapestry that I have, and I'm just dabbing it on there. And now the last thing that I do as far as adding color is I'm taking some of my liming by Fusion, and it's really kind of an off-white. It's not like a stark white. That's why I like it. Super, super creamy. And I'm going straight on. I did not clear this with anything. And I'm going to go ahead and just kind of put that on and wipe it back quite a bit. But a lot of it's going to stay on. Now, the Fusion paint does have a top coat, so it does allow me a little bit of movement, and it doesn't all absorb. And then the last thing I do is I am adding some of my grit, and this is from Sweet Pickins. It's basically like a dust additive. You have to have, well, I think really it works the best with wax, but you can add it to other top coats and things. So now what I have is these are antique reproduction spools. And again, I had these in my booth and, they didn't sell. So I have these little bird nests, and I'm going to go ahead and add some Spanish moss around the edges of them on the sides. Just going to go all the way around. Now I am putting hot glue on the top of this, not a ton, but enough to put those nests on. And if you really wanted to take them off, all you would have to do is heat that up a little bit. It wouldn't damage the spool. And I'm going to go ahead and glue that nest on top. And I used some of that synthetic moss. I wished I knew what it was called. It's really kind of cool. And then I'm putting my bird that we just made. I put a ton of glue on it, and I am gluing it to the nest. And I'm gluing these little eggs. These eggs actually came with these nests. I do think I got these on Amazon last year. And of course I'm putting a ton of glue to make sure that these stay down. They're not super heavy because they're hollow inside. They look heavy because now they look like cement. And of course I do that to both of them. And like I said, you easily be able to take the glue off of this and reuse these. So now I have these pickberries, and I got these from the Dollar Tree. I actually got them at 4th of July, and I bought everything they had, all the white and the red. I bought a few blue, but for the most part, I got red for Christmas, white for Christmas, and then I use these white. I'm down to my last one, so I gotta start looking for them again. And now I have just some, it's not really ribbon, it's just pieces of material that I have cut in strips. And I'm going to tie a bow, just a very simple bow in front of these that you can take off. It's not glued on or anything. Well, here they are. So I think sometimes people don't buy things like this because they don't know what to do with them. And here's just kind of showing you something different. instead of the candles that we see done, you have these. All right, projects number 9, 10, 11, and 12. They're all very similar but different. I collect all these little teacups all the time. I sell them in my booth. I make candles out of them. And I do this. I put nests in them and they sell. So anyway, this is a great thing to do if you get some that are chipped or something like that, because it disguises them. But anyway, I just have these little nests, and they're a smaller nest, and of course I'm putting Spanish moss in there and some sheet moss, and then I'm just gluing a bird in there. I bought these birds, I believe, off of Amazon, just different colors, and I'm trying to match kind of the color of the bird to go with the teacup. And I am not gluing anything into the teacup so that you can take these out and you know, maybe put a Christmas tree in them later. Who knows? But anyway, they sell really well for me. They're super, super cute to have laying around for spring or any time if you like birds and birds' nests like I do. I have them around my house. So you just put those in there. You don't have to permanently do anything to the teacup, and they're super easy. Now I have some cups and saucers that have not sold, that are not really valuable or not very popular, but these are the great ones to take my CA glue. I put a blob down there on the bottom. I put some on the cup as well. And now I'm going to use my accelerator spray. And you guys will be shocked at how well this works. It instantly bonds it. It is on there. It's not moving. Works way better than hot glue because it's permanent. It's not moving. And so now I have that tea cup tilted forward. And I'm going to do it on this one as well. And you just put a big enough blob that it sits there. And, you know, just try and hold it in place long enough. Once you spray a little of it, it'll stay in place. It's instant. And this stuff, it does not move. It's not, these are not coming off. Not coming off. So basically I just take my nest and I tilt it in there. I want to have enough room to add some moss, some florals and things like that. And of course, you know, I've got to, like I said, I'm going to add more Spanish moss. Y'all put any kind of moss you want or none at all, okay? But I went through like 2 packages of Spanish moss for all of these projects, trust me. I think half of it's on my floor. So I'm basically just kind of messing with this and trying to get that nest in there the right way. And I'm just using hot glue to put the nest in and all these little pieces. Now on this one, I'm going to put the bird kind of sideways, and then I'm going to try and fill in with just some little flowers and plants and things like that. And you see those little eggs there? I got those. I don't remember where I got them, but I haven't used any of them because the colors are so weird. So anyway, I'm just finding little tiny pieces of florals and just kind of shoving them in there and trying to figure out where to put them. And I just do that to both of these little teacups, and I have a good time. Doesn't take very long, but it's a lot of fun. So here they are. I think they're turned out super, super cute. And this is great to do, especially with those chipped ones or those not overly special cups and saucers. They turn out really, really cute. All right, project number 13. You made it. I made it. Anyway, this is just a wood round. I'm not even sure where I got it. Probably, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe Dollar Tree, maybe Amazon. So I am painting it with Raw Silk by Fusion. I let that dry. And then I am using the Barnwood stamp by IOD. I remember when I got this stamp, I thought, I'm never going to use this. I use it all the time. All the time. Comes with all these different wood planks, you know, and then I just inked it up with some ink. And I'm just kind of going over the back of this. And I'm not even worried about matching it really well or anything, because you're not going to see most of it. It's a background. Background stamps, I'm telling you guys, you get your money's worth out of them. You will use them all the time. So I go over the whole thing, and what I don't show you is I do take a baby wipe and I lighten it up a little bit. And just, you can do that right after you stamp it. So now what I'm doing is I am going through and looking through my ephemeral transfer pack and my seed packet. They have very, very similar type things in it. And I think IOD is sold out of both of these. I think I have a few. I may only have one seed packet and then a few, just a handful of the ephemeral. And so anyway, or maybe it's vice versa. I'm not sure. You have to look. So I find this little transfer that I'm going to put on there. And I put that on the middle. And the one thing about the transfer, what's really cool, is that I put that background on there. So wherever it's clear, you'll see that background. But wherever there's a transfer, you will not see that. It'll be covered. See? Look how cool that looks. So it looks like it's painted on this old wood. Is that not the coolest effect? That's what makes transfers different than decoupage paper, because decoupage paper, everything you would see, you know, all of what you would have to put like a white background on the back so you can see through those other pieces. So there's another sheet in there that has all of these little rose seed packets, and we're kind of going with the rose theme here because this one has it on there. And I cut out some of those to kind of fill in the sides, because the sides of this they're just, you know, it was like there was too much of a gap over there. I actually left too much of a gap on top. I thought I was going to put a big bow on top of my project, but I ended up not doing it. But you really can't tell later on. So anyway, I go ahead and I'm putting clear wax to seal this when I'm done. See, doesn't that look cool? And like I said, you can't see through the parts where the transfer is. And now, after I did the clear wax, I'm using my Fusion's aging wax. And of course, the clear wax keeps it from absorbing too much. And I'm kind of leaving more on the edge, on the ends, you know, just to kind of blend it in. I want it to look old. And so that's all sealed in. But then I get the idea that I want to go ahead and take some sandpaper and go kind of in a round. You don't want to scratch it too much, but just to kind of rough it up just a tiny bit, just to make it look a little bit aged. So after I do that, I want to go ahead and use my clear wax again, because you want to make sure you seal it, because you basically have rubbed off any any sealant. And I add a little bit more of my dark wax again, just to make sure that those portions don't look white. And that's it as far as getting the round ready. That's the easy part. Now I'm using my crocodile to punch holes, 4 holes around it, and I'm using this rusty wire. I got that from Factory Direct Crafts, and I am wiring this wood round on to make sure it stays on. You know, your grapevine wreaths are very lopsided, so you really don't want to try and just glue them on, because it probably won't stay. And now I'm cutting some more pieces out of that ephemeral melange transfer set, more of the rose packets, and I'm putting them on just some off-white cardstock that I have. And I'm going to go ahead and transfer all of those on. We're going to use all of those. And if you've never transferred onto paper, it works extremely easy. Except if you have a very porous, like natural paper, then you probably want to seal that first, because transfers need a slick, smooth surface. That's why it's always good to seal your chalk paint. So after I do that and cut it out, I'm just taking my scissors and I'm roughing up the edges of these. I want these to look old and weathered, and, you know, like they've been outside forever. And then I'm just taking some walnut stain by Ranger. You could use your wax, you could use brown paint, you could use any ink, but I have this, so I'm going to use it. And now I'm going to go over the tops of these just with a little bit of my sandpaper, just to rough those up a little bit. Just to get, you know, I want them to have the same, you know, old look. I'm going to go over those with some clear wax, because again, this is a transfer and we do need to seal it. And if this is going to be like on a front door or something, you probably want it sealed. And then I'm going to take just a little bit of my aging wax and go over all of these and then wipe them back. So now I have these adorable little terracotta pots. I bought these off of Amazon. You can get all different sizes. The only thing is, if you get the bigger ones, I would not try and glue them on. I would wire them on. I'm taking a fan brush and I'm dry brushing some raw silk by Fusion on all of these. I just want it to look like, you know, the old liming, like if you had a pot sitting out in the yard. And then I'm going to take some basil by Paint Couture. It's just a green paint, just to make it look a little bit like moss. And I'm just barely going over the edges of these. I don't want to do too much. I still want to see the terracotta. And then I'm going to take some of my aging wax and I'm going to go over this around the edges and spots that would normally be dirty. I also do the inside of the pots as well. And I do that to all of them, just kind of taking it, wiping it back, just to make them look old and like they've been outside for a while. Okay, so now I'm using my Grit by Sweet Pickins. I love this stuff. It really does make things look like dirt. and it sticks to the wax. So I do that to all the pots. And now I have these nests, and I bought these, I believe, on Amazon. The problem with them is they're very, very thick, and you can't glue them onto a wreath the way that they are. So I'm basically cutting out the bottoms of them. I'm just completely cutting them out. I'm using wire cutters because they're wired together to cut the wire. And then I'm just basically going around with my scissors and pulling out the back to where it's almost like a grapevine wreath when I get done. And so I do 5 of those, and it makes a hot mess. And then after that, I have the wreaths done. I am making some little air dry clay eggs. Super easy. You just cut off a piece, you roll it in your hands and make a ball, and then you kind of sandwich your hands together and it'll make an egg shape. And then we're going to just go ahead and put the very watered down black chalk paint and use our fan brush and sprinkle some dots. And now all I'm doing is I'm putting all of my pieces that we worked on to get ready to go on my wreath. You definitely have to put enough glue on there to hold these. And I would honestly, if I weren't doing this video, I would take the time to wire each one of these pieces on. That's one thing that I use that rusty wire for that I buy. Is it works really great on grapevine wreaths. It blends in really well. I would probably spend the time to do that, but if not, make sure you put enough glue. And we're going to disguise the glue later with moss and things like that, so don't worry about putting too much glue. Now on my little seed packets, I crumpled those up a little. I want them to look smushed and old and messed up. So I put a bunch of glue on those, and I just go around my wreath and basically glue on all the pieces. Okay, so now what I'm doing is, remember I told you we cut out the bottom of those? I'm just going to put a little Spanish moss in there. It gives a different color, a different texture, but it also covers that little hole up. And then I'm going to put our little eggs in there that we made. Okay, so now what I'm doing is I am putting some hot glue back in, tucking under the corners there. And I'm using that little stick so I don't burn myself. Your grapevine wreath is not going to lay flat against your wood round because it's natural, it's curvy, and this way this fills in all those little gaps. And now I'm taking just some little flowers, any kind of little flower that I can put in those little pots. I'm trying to stick to the same colors that we have going on. And I'm just cutting off just the tops of these. I think I got these at the Dollar Tree. And then those little beige ones, I think I got at Hobby Lobby. And I'm just cutting off the tops, putting a blob of glue in there. And just kind of gluing in just some little flowers in all my little flower pots. Now I'm taking some extra hold hairspray and I'm spraying the entire wreath. This will keep some of the moss and things from shedding. And now I'm taking my little bow maker thing, I forgot what you call it. I put a piece of wire across the back, and now I'm taking just some different ribbon and torn material, and I'm making kind of a sloppy bow. And I'm just going crisscrossing back and forth, and going to go ahead and add different things to it, and go ahead and make my bow. The way this works is that little wire that I put across is you can pull up on it later and then twist. It's just an extra, like having extra hands. I didn't think I would need it or like it. I love it. decided not to use that burlap. It's too bulky. And I have some lace there. And this is going to be kind of a sloppy bow, but not, but an actual bow. Just to put at the bottom of this wreath. I was thinking about putting something bigger, but I actually think this kind of works with it. And anyway, so I do all of that. Go ahead and smush that down a little bit. And now I'm going to go ahead and twist that. My wire, get it really super tight and pull it out. And there's my little bow that I put on there. And now I have this little bird that I put on there, and I glue it kind of toward the back against that little seed packet up there, just so that it will show when the wreath is hanging up on the door. And then I decide that I need a couple more pots in a certain spot. It seemed kind of bare there. So there's a total of 9, I think, on there. And then there's a little spot up on top that, like I said, there's a little gap there. And also, I think I left too much space there. So here it is. I absolutely love it. I'm going to be keeping this for myself. Erin with Prudential Farmhouse did one last year, and then I did another one last year. But I really, really love this one. And it's staying with me. I did add that little twine bow to the front. It felt like it needed something. And let me know if you think it did or not. And let me know what you think about this. If you are in need of any Paint Couture, Fusion, Sweet Pickins, IOD, or Decoupage paper, my website is rehatchdesigns.com. New subscribers to my website get 10% off. Everyone gets free shipping over $50, flat rate shipping of $8 under $50. And also subscribe to the website. You get coupons all the time for discounts if you subscribe to the website. And also, guys, I really appreciate you hanging out with me, and I would really, really appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel, and that really helps me out as a new little channel. It lets YouTube know that you like what you see. It lets me know that you're getting value out of these videos so that I continue to make them. Also, if you would like or comment, that also helps my video get out there. I really, really appreciate that. And my videos come out once a week, but they're sporadically on different days. So the best thing to do is to hit that notification bell so that you know when my videos come out. And I really, really appreciate you hanging out with me, guys. I hope you had a good time, and I hope you got your money's worth out of this video with 13 different flips today. There was a lot. And so I really, really appreciate it, guys. And I hope to see you again next week. Everybody take care and have a great, great week.